We sell your items online. Go ahead, declutter your life. Have a yard sale or let eBay do the work. From the thrift store shopping to that wallet popping. There are two things in life that are certain. Deathpiles in Texas. Deathpiles in Texas. With Derek Everitt and Adam Beesley.
It says we're recording, Droy.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, buddy. Welcome to Deathpiles and Taxes. I know it's been a while, but we're going to get back on the wagon, my friend.
It's your favorite quarterly podcast.
Easy now. It's like monthly.
Okay.
Because, we try to do 4 in a day, and if you split it up right.
Well, yeah, exactly. If I split it up right, it's always on me.
I know it's because you're the guy. I'm just the guy who shows up.
You were lost and found last week. We had to put out an all be bolo on you. Be on the lookout for.
Wasn't I in Boise?
Safety concern. Well, you've been New York, Boise, lost in the jungles of. I thought Africa. It turns out it was just southern Utah.
Yeah, it was Zion's.
Off the grid.
So how's the way to pronounce it? I mean, so we're here in Utah.
Yeah, we've always said Zion, but the rest of the world country says Zion.
Well, I mean, the guy's name is Zion Williamson. I mean, I got some money when that guy's cards were hot. I think he's kind of fell off a lot.
He fell off a whole lot.
A whole lot.
Here's the weird thing about cards. Since we're just going to dive in.
Oh, yeah, we love it. We're deep diving into sports cards, tickets, ways to make money on the interwebs.
I could have went and bought a Scottie Pippen rookie card. The guy that's won multiple championships. He's not Michael Jordan, but he was on the same team, right?
Yes.
World-renowned player, all-star.
Hall of Famer,
dream team guy.
Top 50.
For, I don't know what they're going for, but not a whole lot.
Yeah, $100.
I mean, that's probably a good grade. Or I could have went and bought Zion.
Oh, yeah.
And they were going, and even Victor Wembanyama right now.
What was his name again?
Oh, Vic Wembanyama.
Wamby.
Yeah, but those cards are going for insane amount of money, insane, and they're printing out. There's a lot that they're printing out. Sometimes they're a little more rare than others. Some have autographs, some don't. But at the time, if you can find them and sell them right when they come out, kind of like your Luka that we told you not to sell.
I know.
It's only going to go up in value.
It was only $800.
Now what's it worth?
I haven't even looked. I'm guessing 200 maybe.
Yeah, probably
maybe 3. I don't know.
That's still good, but it's nowhere near where it was at the height.
Yes. So
you can buy these guys and sell them for more than Hall of Famer, like proven Olympic caliber, multi-championship. Now they're not Michael Jordan, they're not LeBron, and they're not Kobe's or Wilt Chamberlain.
Oh, yes.
All the greats. Oscar Robinsons.
Yes.
But there's not that many of those once-in-a-generation type players are called that for a reason. So everyone speculates that, hey, this is going to be the next guy. And they go nuts and the numbers get inflated. And, here in a year or so, they come back to earth. And so it's just one of those things.
I made plenty of money on Tua, Justin Herbert.
You did well on that.
But
you picked a good draft class to decide to get in on.
Who else is in there? Joe Burrow. Who's the other guy? I can't even remember.
Yeah, there's like
Jordan Love.
4 or 5, and Jordan Love right now.
Yeah,
is the front. Like that was a big class, and he was the bottom of it.
Yeah,
and now it's kind of flipped up. So I've told you for a couple of years now, get those Jordan Loves up.
I've made some money on the Jordan Loves. In fact, probably my best card, I think I sold for like $500.
Yeah,
it was an auto that I pulled out of a pack. So,
and football, basketball, baseball, they're all different sports, right? Like,
oh yeah.
I mean, you see the Juan Soto, and you see the contracts coming out anymore for baseball, and it's insane. But there's a lot more. I mean, obviously, there's a lot more money in those markets to sustain those prices. And
can I tell you why I'm
harder to find? Go ahead.
Can I tell you why I'm still bullish on the card market, the ticket market?
I'm sure.
I think what they've done now versus the junk wax era is, even though it's a card is a card, and it's kind of the same thing what they were doing with the pro sets, the Donruss, the Leafs, the Fleers, back when we were collecting in the late 80s, early 90s, they've made enough adjustments, and they've put these autos and these numbered cards that makes it special, but really it's not any more special. But by calling it limited, that's what makes it special, I guess.
You're creating the supply and the demand of it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's a lot of prospecting. If you could, I was around the World Series time, Freddie Freeman blew up.
Oh, Freddie.
And I was kind of looking into it. He started off in, Atlanta.
Yeah.
Like years ago for baseball terms. And he was a good player, but he wasn't
World Series MVP.
Anything special. But then he hits that walk-off grand slam.
Oh, that was amazing.
For the World Series, guy skyrockets. But the problem is you have to pick the right horse in the race and stick with them for, up to a decade sometimes, because you go back to minor league prospects and the Bowman first. And there's just a lot of, if you're into it and that's kind of your thing, that's kind of fun. But that's a long, cost on returns. But if it hits big. So,
like I said, sports memorabilia, tickets, cards, they're in their market, but they're all different. Every one of them is different. And like I said, we've kind of niched into this over the years. We started out doing all kinds of stuff on eBay. Mr. Scumbag's selling chlorine tablets and jars and all kinds of things. He's still selling a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I still dabble a lot, but yeah, it's one of those things where you just got to find what kind of interests you and makes it fun for you to do.
Can I toot your horn?
Well, is this a family podcast?
Yes, it is.
Whatever. It's almost Christmas. Why not?
It is. Toot. For those of those that don't know, Derek has always been a wrestler. He is WWE. He was a Hulkamaniac, I think, coming out of the womb. He knows his guys, Ric Flair, and not even those guys. The original Rocky Mayavia's dad. King Bundy, what's his name?
King Kong Bundy.
King Kong Bundy. I dabble in it, not as much as these guys, but I dare say that your collection of wrestling cards, I know David Peck's he's the ultim, you got your other couple guys, but you got to be, what do you think, top 7?
Yeah, I know. I probably was at one point. There's some guys that really got into it really
because you've sold them the cards.
There's a guy. There's a few guys out there, but there's all these guys got money.
Can we say top 10?
Sure, why not? I'm top 10.
Okay,
but there's people that got really into it really heavily, and they've just been able to invest a whole lot. I got some good things. Don't get me wrong, but there's a guy that owns like this toy company that makes action figures that just decided to get into it, and when they decide to get into it, they're buying. Like we're talking about the Hulk Hogan All-Stars, they're going for insane amount of money now. And they can just, I don't got a few 20, 30 grand to just go start speculating on.
I've seen what you've spent it on PSA.
I don't got it.
You will have it.
I'll be paying that off. But that's the other thing is I've got some good things, but then I got to turn around and flip them to recoup some of my costs to keep it going. So
these guys are new in the game. They're new in the purchasing. You got to be top 4 for the OGs. Like, you've been in the game for a while.
If we went total wrestling cards graded, I'm probably up there. I gotta be up there at the top of that.
Oh, you gotta be. Yeah. How many
the difference between David Peck and Rob England? A lot of that, they're just pieces. So they'll get their older. They were smart because they were getting these older sets and they were just they just store, and that's where they still are.
Yeah.
They don't really sell.
They're just in store. Yeah, they're in storage.
So they're just hoarding them, which only helps because then your total population out there isn't a lot to begin with. And then, all right, they got 30 of that card and there's 50 out there. So there's only 20. That kind of game gets going to where people are like, okay. And those guys, I don't think they're ever going to
no, their kids will be selling.
Yeah. Because if they were going to sell them, right now is the time to be doing it when you're hitting these record prices. So
yeah,
unless they get, to where they're on death's door and they need.
But that's the thing. Those guys don't need the money. And the thing is they didn't pay that money for
prices. They were picking them up at, a couple $100 a card. And grading them for under $10. And now that $17 card is going for, over 100 grand or whatever.
So, and like I said, I think what we've talked about continually over the years is, the riches is in the niches. D-Roy's kind of honed in on his niche. Man, he's been active. You've been active on the sales and also on the submissions.
Yeah, gotta be when sales and that kind of thing come up. If you're not there, you're going to miss it. And like we're talking about, some of these, so one of my big hits this year is Leaf came out with the Legends of Wrestling set, and they were going for $400 or $500 for a box, and you get 3 or 4 cards or something like that.
Okay.
I got in a couple breaks. I'm like, this is just kind of priced pretty high for me, because your odds of hitting, I mean, you get decent things, but
you're not going to get your return on your investment.
You're not going to get your return on investment. But what they only had a very short list of people. So you could get Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, and
Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Brutus the Barber Beefcake. And MJF. And so
I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know who that is. Exactly. So you have a lot of people going for The Rock because they had some Rock autos that were big controversy of how they got those. People are going for Hulk Hogan and then Ric Flair. Oh, and John Cena was in there. So you got these people that are just going after these big hits and they don't get them.
Yeah.
And they don't care about these other cards.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can pick them up for
20%.
A lot less.
Yeah.
And I can sell them to the wrestling people who do care about that, but didn't want to get in on those breaks because you're not going to pay that kind of price. So
yeah.
I did a lot of that, but they had this thing called a white diamond. I think it
was
a white diamond card. I think so. Something like that. And it looked like the Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd. Had like the rainbow and the triangle.
Yeah, the triangle.
That was kind of cool, right? And so they had they had 3, so you could get. Leaf makes a lot of like variants, but this was like they only made 3 of this card. Well, 4 technically. They had 1 of one that was an auto, and then 3 that weren't autos.
1 of 3, yeah.
So I thought, man, that's kind of crazy. Well, I was able to scoop up.
Oh, I remember this. Yeah,
I was able to scoop up like all, but I don't have the Ric Flair of the 1 of 3.
Okay.
And then the other day, I found another one of the Rock ones. So I got 2 out of the 3 of the Rock ones.
Oh boy!
I've been picking up a lot of the printing plates because people don't know what these are.
Yeah.
And they're pretty rare to this set, which isn't the biggest set ever. But the problem is something gets released and people just like the tension's on there. Oh, a month or 2 later, they're on to the next.
Yeah, it's gone. Yeah.
And that's when it's a good time to come in, get these things that are kind of valuable. And here in 20 years, it's one of 3, 2 of 3. Who knows what happens with The Rock? Who knows what happens with Hulk? We've talked about Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair a lot.
You mean President Dwayne?
Could be. I mean, it's not the craziest thing anymore.
I mean, we've seen other, people who are on television that are, rocking the 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
Well, even that, but say that doesn't go that route. He's still one of the biggest action stars. He's like the modern day Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? So what's an Arnold Schwarzenegger card autographed worth from or Kindergarten Cop or the Terminator, 20 years ago? So either way, I think it's a win-win, right?
That was like 35 years ago.
We only do these podcasts once every couple months.
Easy now.
This might be 5 years ago recording. But so you look at it that way. You got Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair, who I've always said is like the Babe Ruth and the Mickey Mantle of wrestling. Not going to live forever. John Cena is coming up and starting to do a lot of movies and stuff like that. Wow. He's going to go more that route. So that takes off. He's going to become a big Hollywood guy. We'll see how that goes. The MJF is kind of like your prospect. He's a pretty big fish in a little pond, but he's doing a movie right now with Adam Sandler. So
help me out. Who is that?
MJF, Maxwell Jacob Freeman.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if you were talking RFK or DJT. I don't know what your acronyms mean anymore.
But that's the thing. Nobody does. But
Sigma.
Here's the thing. You beta, Sigma, Skibby, Ohio, beta fish.
I don't get why my kids talk. It's only my daughter, but I don't get why they talk like that. But anyways,
I'll clue you in.
I've digressed.
It's because you don't get it. That's why she talks like that. But the point of my story is Adam Sandler's pretty loyal to his guys, right? He becomes a big. There's just opportunity.
Rob Schneider has lived on Adam Sandler.
Exactly, like Brutus to Hogan is Rob to Sandler.
Oh
right?
yeah.
So I don't know, but is it work? And the guy in the rest, so I can go and flip it to a wrestling community, and they'll pay pretty good prices right now.
You're opening up to the Hollywood,
but you can wait, and so we'll see what happens. Talking about tickets, I've been able to buy some bulk lots, and I was selling it was like somewhere in Kentucky, they were doing airplane races in like the 1940s.
Oh, wow. And
I just had a random ticket and I put it up on, I put it for $40, see what happens.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, can you get this here? I need this for Christmas for my dad. It's that's just weird stuff, dude. So there's people out, there's a lid for every pot, they say, and you just got to find where that pot's at, I guess.
Weird finds weird.
Weird finds weird, but it's like, it has to be kind of like interesting. Like, no one's going to buy, but I thought, there's the Kentucky Derby. I got a bunch of NASCAR tickets coming in, and some of it I was all about grading. And at the time, that made a lot of sense, right? About 4 or 5 years ago. Now I'm just more into like the better, like if it's a nice 1 of 1 or a good shape or an auto, something special, get it graded, sure.
But the other ones,
but the other ones, I mean, let somebody else take that. Unless it's your personal item or something you're gonna like hold on to for a while. Let them take just sell it. Just get that moving. So it's the same with tickets.
Yeah, like so there's just a really unique, fun market for these things, and again, it boils over into money making, but also funding your hobbies, enjoying what you do. I know D-Roy spends some good amount of time at nights and on Fridays, kind of enjoying life, and it's enjoying. You've created a hobby that makes you money.
That's the good part. I mean, that's kind of nice when I can fly to wherever on vacation, right? And sure, it's not going to be 100% tax deductible.
Greece?
I'm going to go to Greece or wherever. But let's just say when I went to Hawaii and I go down to the flea market, I'm like, okay, I'm going to find some wrestling cards.
Yes, you do.
And I do. And I mean, it's not a big enough offset, but it's a little offset.
Oh, yeah.
And it helps. Or you go, yeah, I went to Greece. I mean, if I found stuff, sure.
Did you go look for the original Athens tickets to get in?
I saw the original cauldron.
Yeah, the original cauldron.
I don't think they had tickets originally. That was the thing.
You just show up.
I mean, I need to get big speculation someday, but dude, there's something to it. I don't know. They built a lot of huge, big temples to these gods, right? Like Zeus had, like there's something going on here. That's all I'm going to say.
I don't know what that means.
Well, everybody's like, oh, they're mythological, and they all knew that this was just pretend and stuff. And it's like, no, these guys believed in like Athens, like. You don't build temples for decades that are like big man-made structures on some make-believe thing. Like they believe some of this stuff.
Wow, I didn't know we were going to
deep dive.
I didn't know we were going to dabble down that
the Parthenon and stuff. Like it's like no. I mean,
any examples of that in the modern day, D-Roy?
Yeah, that's plenty. Other podcasts.
Oh boy, well,
somebody else is going to edit that one.
Well. I told you we're going to get one out. We'll crank one out. We're going to go throw a few more podcasts down here, keep going some regular information, my friend.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Always good to sit down and have a talk with Adam. He's a busy man.
We got some other good stuff coming up on the next couple episodes.
He's not skibbity, that's for sure.
No, sir.
No skibbity Ohio here, but one thing is for certain, or maybe it's 2, Adam. I forget how many was it.
It's 2 things.
That would be 2 things for certain, or Deathpiles and taxes.
We're well within our rights to use this song. We're aware that preaching copyright is wrong. With lots of dedication, we've researched the legislation, and this music has nowhere else it belongs. Derek is the king of Deathpiles, and Adam does his taxes all the while. Deathpiles and taxes, selling stuff online in between. Deathpiles and taxes, no copyright infringement to be seen. Derek is the king of Deathpiles, and Adam does his taxes all the while. Deathpiles and taxes, selling stuff online in between. Deathpiles and taxes, no copyright infringement.